Hello everybody, welcome back to Eau Brink Studio if you've seen us here before. If not, welcome. My name is Anita and the studio is based in West Norfolk, just outside of Kings Lynn on the A47. We're doing a series at the moment for this month called Reclaiming Memories, and this little video is showing you how you can use this product, which is called powertex, to preserve some of your memories or to help you remember things using pieces of old jewellery. So if you've got something that somebody gave you once and you might not have never worn it because you didn't really like it, but you loved the person that gave it to you, so you kept it. Or it could be a piece of jewellery that somebody gave you and it's broken over time, so you've decided to keep it but because you just can't get rid of it. Or it could be just something that you've bought on your trips out with somebody and you had a great time, a great weekend, a great day, you know, and it just reminded you of that. So this is all about reclaiming memories. The other thing that you could do is look at making bowls and things using powertex, but we'll do that in another video because I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter because my son says that I'll waffle and they go on forever and they're too long. So the first thing that we need to do is look at our pieces of jewellery. And I'm just going to adjust the camera so that you can see what I've got here. And there are a few things that we need to do too. So hold on one moment and ignore the state the studio's in. Hopefully you can see that okay. So I have got these lovely big beads. They're very big, very chunky, that have come off of a great big chunky bracelet that had a necklace to go with it, and I have used a lot of them. The other things that I have got is some old lace. You can see it's quite scabby. It's been taken off of a shirt or blouse, whichever way you want to look at it. So it was on the cuffs and the collars, which is, you know, it's got holes in it, but that doesn't matter. And then I've got these little pieces of lace here. I'm not quite sure what these came off. I've just got them, so we will use these as well. Whatever you use, we need to have some texture. So that's what we're looking for with our product. Texture to finish off, because we're going to be painting it with some dry brush paint, and you'll see that all these textures will come out when we've made our pieces. And I am going to use some bronze powertex. It comes in many colours. You need to give it a good shake before you use it, and you don't want to tip too much out at a time. And you have about an hour to faff about with this stuff before it starts to set. So we'll just pour a little bit in there. It is a fabric hardener. It's non-toxic, perfectly safe, waterproof. You can use it with acrylics, and it's perfect for going outside once you've let it harden and put some varnish on it. You don't have to wear gloves when you're using this product. The only reason I am doing is because you can guarantee the phone will go or somebody will want something, and you just automatically pick it up and end up with powertex over everything. So we've got our powertex ready, and we've got some plastic lids. I mean, these plastic lids have been used for all sorts of things, but they're perfect for setting brooches on. So I'm going to grab a piece of lace, one that's not too big, and I'm going to dip it in the powertex and give it a good massage. I don't want it too wet. It's going to dry fairly quickly in here because we have had a workshop on today and it is quite warm. We haven't had the heating on, but when you've got a room full of lots of people, it does get very warm. Okay, so that's our piece of lace covered in powertex. There are no white areas showing, so that's a good thing. Move that out of the way and So if you lay your lace on there and pick up your bead, put it in the right way up that you want it, and then all you have to do is scrunch this in. This little piece of lace actually might be a little bit big, but we can make it as small as we want, because all we're going to do is that. Okay, and that is now going to set to dry. We're leaving it on the plastic because we can take it off of plastic very easily. And yes, I have got gaps in it. I know you'll be wondering why that's going to stay in there, but it's because I'm going to fill it with little beads and things in a little while. So as soon as they've dried, I can show you how to do that bit. So we'll do another one. We'll do it on one of these. Again, we've got to massage it in. Make sure that we've completely covered it. There's no white showing. Dip the fingers in rather than keep dipping the actual piece of fabric in. Fabric wise, you need to try to stick to fabrics that are not man-made. So these are cotton. Man-made fabrics, it will cover it, you can do it, but if you want them to go outside, you can't. They don't stay waterproof. This will end up with about 3 coats of varnish on it to keep it looking nice, and they take a good 2 to 3 weeks to completely dry and set. So you know, it's not something that you can make tonight and wear tomorrow. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid. This is a very lacy one. Put that one in. Yeah. So just maneuver it around it. Bring it up, squash it in. If it's too high, push it down a bit. Just keep manipulating it until you've got it where you want it. You've got a good hour to faff about with these. Okay, so that's another one set. You can see that I've used these lids for all sorts of things, but they're perfect for this. So when you get your Chinese, keep your trays, any plastic tray you can use, and you don't need to wash them out either. Once this is dried, you can just crack it and then you can take it out, and you can use that. So the same as acrylic skins, you can use it on other artwork. You can just use powertex to put it on, or glue it on, or even stitch it on. If it's thin enough, I've stitched it. White bit there. And the aim is not to make anything big and bulky unless you particularly want to, but just something pretty to remind you of earlier days, or to remind you of a person. It may be that you've got a piece of, I wonder if that'll go in that one. Maybe that you've got a piece of jewellery that reminded you of a person because she always wore jewellery, or he, you know, in that was big or chunky or of a specific colour. Or sometimes we look at things and think, oh, so and so would like that. Or we saw lots of those when we went out one day, and bought one. None of us ever wore it, but it was a great day out. Okay. Don't worry too much if you've got some powertex on the front of your bead. We can get it off. And this bead is proving it doesn't want to go in here. I'm sorry, bead, you haven't got any choice. Okay, so that's that one. And I'll just take these off and I will show you how to clean them up. So to clean up the beads, these are almost dry in this heat. That's how quick they are. So you just need some good old-fashioned water and a paintbrush. I particularly like these paintbrushes. They're Chinese paintbrushes. They have a nice point. They come in different sizes. This is one of the larger ones, but you have a nice point so you can get into all sorts of areas with them. And some blue roll or any type of tissue paper of any description. So just move that so you can see it a bit better. We don't want this absolutely soaking wet, but we do need to have water on it. And just gently go over where you want to remove the powertex and then wipe it off. Don't flood the bead with water, as we are literally just cleaning the powertex off. Move it around so you can get to the areas that you want to. And then when you think you need to, just put a little bit more water on. But only when you really have to. Because like I say, we don't want to flood this and make it absolutely soaking wet. We just want to remove the excess powertex. We're just cleaning. Lots of people have different ways of doing this, but this is my preferred way. Also, I'm more in control of it. I can get into quite small areas because of the tip of this brush. Without actually flooding the whole bead with water. So they're cleaned now. You don't have to do anything else with those whilst they're drying. You're just taking the powertex off the bead, nowhere else. This has got quite a lot on this side for some reason. You might be thinking to yourselves, well, why can't I just do that with a cloth or a sponge, which you can do. However, I find with these brooches that if I use a cloth or a sponge, it's nicely cleaned. I get bits stuck all over the fabric and the lace, which I don't want to do. And the other thing is I don't want too much water on this because I want them to dry as quickly as possible, which they won't do if they're full of water. The other thing that you can do is use a craft knife to gently scrape it off afterwards. But again, although you can do that, you don't want to damage the bead. So that's another one that's cleaned. So now we're going to finish these off. They are dry to touch dry. They're not set, but we can still work into them. We're going to use Easy Varnish from powertex. Again, give it a good shake. And using a pipette, just take a little bit out. You don't need a lot, as you will see. I also need a paintbrush. Oh, I've got one here, of course. Only I don't want that one. I want a different one. Okay, so here I have some beads. They are all recycled, all from pieces of jewellery that I've pulled apart, and we're going to use them. A scabby old paintbrush. This piece of paper, I usually have black plastic on the tables, but I've got clear at the moment. So I've put a dark piece of paper and I'm going to mix on this. And the reason for that is you can actually see your colours. Now, within the powertex range, we have a huge amount of colours that we can use. And they come in these little pots. It's a very fine powder and they last a long time, very long time. Some of these pots I bought when I first started doing powertex and I'm still using them. The other colours that you can, the other things that you can get are these, again from powertex. These are the Secret Art Loft pigment powders, and you can use any other type of acrylic paint with them too. So this is Colour Tricks Copper, and this is Rich Gold, and there should somewhere be a bronze one. Terra Violet. Don't want those. Don't want that. That's a Pearl Red. Oh, that's interesting. Right, it looks like I've run out, or it's run off. Not quite sure which is first. Anyway, so using our pipette, I'm just going to actually bring this over this way a bit more so that you can see what I'm getting up to. The first thing that we need to do is to get the colour onto these. So we need to mix it, and we need a pea-sized burst of bubbles amount. You can't see that. Let me bend that down a bit more. There we go. A pea-sized amount of our Easy Varnish, and then we need to go with the colour that we've picked. And as you can see, these are very powdery. Scabby paintbrushes are the best. And what you do is you pick some of that up, dip it in there, okay, and then mix it. And the reason we're mixing it onto this dark background is so that we can see what the colour's going to look like. And the best tip I can give you is to always put your lid back on your powders again, because if you tip them over, they're horrendous. They go everywhere. Okay, so tissue or a piece of blue towel, you know, whichever you want to do. and we're dry brushing, so we want that colour off. Okay, take it off, and you might be thinking, goodness, what a waste, or words to that effect, but actually it isn't really. And then we're going to brush the colour onto these, and just by using the sides of the brushes you can get that colour on there, and you will transform them. Can you see how that's changing? And it's picking up all of the textures that we've got on this piece of lace, and it's beautiful. You don't need to worry about the back, not at this moment anyway. The back is still quite wet, but we're not bothering too much with the black. It's back, I mean, it's all about the front. Usually I would do this the following day, but I'm doing them tonight because I want you to see the effects that it has. So can you see that? This has got the colour on and this one hasn't, and the difference is amazing. And you don't just need to put one colour on, you can put as many colours on as you like. Just put a bit around this top bit, because you will see the top. And the sides. Now if you've got some colour in an area like I have here that I don't want it on, now I can wash it off again, so I don't need to do anything with that brush. I can just leave it here with the colour. I can get my brush that I've used for washing earlier and just go over that and take it off. Okay. I'm not even going to worry about drying it or anything. Now the next thing that I want to do is introduce some beads to this. And I need to first of all decide which beads I think may look okay with it. These are very, very bright, so I think they would be too much. I then have these, which are a grey, sort of bluey grey really, and they look okay. Or then there's these, which bring the purple out, so I'm going to use these. And I've very, very simply fill the holes, and it will all leak out the back, which is okay, with my easy varnish, and tip them in. I don't care where they're going, because then I'm going to go over the top with the easy varnish, and I want them to go where they want to go, not where I want them to go. So we're looking at them being organic. Easy varnish dries clear, so we don't need to worry too much about how much we're putting on. Okay, so I think I want some more in this hole here, which will probably leak right the way through, but I don't mind. quite malleable still, so we can move things around quite a lot if we want to. And we can tip it off. Okay, so just to show you again, I'm building this area up here. And I'm just going to keep adding beads. Into that. That's all I'm going to keep doing. Encourage the excess to get off. And then I think I just want a couple in the top here. So we'll just drop them in. From the ones that I have spilt. Beads tend to go everywhere, but I don't mind. And yes, I do pick them up off the floor. If anyone's thinking, I wonder if she picks them up off the floor, I do. Unless they're really teeny tiny and then they go up the Henry Hoover. Push them into the holes if you want to. Remember, you're in control of it. I'm going to put many, many more layers of the easy varnish on. And you can see where your bubbles are, so you can burst them, and you can see where your beads are going, and you sometimes find another little gap and think, oh, I wonder if I can get just a few more beads to sit in there. And if you can, go for it. I don't think you can have too many beads on a piece. Excuse me. So just to show you that up close. Now I will leave this one here to dry and then start working on the others, and then at the end of the video you'll be able to see how many of them I have beaded. So here we go, we have 6 brooches that have been painted and beaded, and now I will leave them for a few days to finish setting so they're nice and hard. I will look at cleaning them up again. I don't want to tip this up too much, just in case they slide off. I don't think they will. I think they're well and truly stuck on here, but you know, they'll be easy to come off once we've finished. And then all you've got to do is clean them up again and give them 3 coats of varnish. I don't varnish over the beads because I want the actual bead to stay shiny, so just give it a little clean, and then set a brooch back on the back of them, and there you go, you have powertex brooches. I'm just going to move this up a bit. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it's given you a bit more inspiration. Tomorrow's will be a little bit quicker, I think, because we'll just do some powertex bowls, and I'm now going to set some so that I will have the here's some I made earlier bit for you, so that you can just see what, you know, how to set them and then how to paint them. Then you can use them for whatever you want. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.